Welcome back to Hollywood, Florida. Hard Rock Live, the site of tonight's PBC on Spike event. We start in the bantamweight division. Emmanuel Manny Rodriguez, undefeated, 14-0, trying to make some noise in this division, taking on Alberto Guevara, who's only lost twice. Both of those losses to men who were champions. You look at the tail of the tape, brought to you by Corona, who brings you the best in boxing. Both men, the early side of their 20s, standing at 5 feet 6 inches tall, both weighing in at just under 120 pounds, and no considerable reach advantage on either side. Time for the fans in the stands to meet these fighters as we get set for the first fight. For that, we turn it over to ring announcer Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Hollywood, Florida, from Central Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, live on Spike. This is Premier Boxing Champions. Tonight, the action begins with 10 rounds in the bantamweight division. Introducing first out of the red corner, he wears the white and gold. His professional record, 24 wins, 2 defeats, 9 victories by way of knockout fighting. Out of Mazatlan, Sinaloa, Mexico, presenting Alberto Guevara. Across the ring, his adversary fights out of the blue corner, wearing the red, blue, and white as a professional. He's undefeated, 14 victories, 10 by knockout without defeat. Hailing from Guevara, Puerto Rico, introducing Manny El Sensacional Rodriguez. In charge of the action, your referee, Teles Asimelios.
Gentlemen, you have received instructions in the dressing rooms. Obey my commands at all times. Protect yourselves at all times. Say gloves and God bless.
For this, our co-main event, we'll be using the Florida rules. No standing 8 count. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. Only the referee can stop the fight. You cannot be saved by the bell in any round. In the event of an accidental foul, we will go to the scorecards after 4 rounds complete. How about a little Puerto Rico-Mexico showdown to begin the night? PBC on Spike starts now. So Manny Rodriguez, 14-0. A lot of people think there's a great future for this guy, but easily his toughest test to date.
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing you need. He says everyone on the island knows who I am. It's about getting off the island. People knowing him in the U.S. In order to do that, has to take on a tough, rugged guy. Guevara's that guy.
Yeah, and it's great to see a young upstart prospect face one of his toughest adversaries right now. We're going to get a real judgment of how much potential this guy really has.
Yeah, we talk about it, Antonio. In the last few years, guys get padded and padded and padded. You need this step-up guy. His only losses, quality losses to tough guys. So, you know, if Rodriguez is a real deal, he gets a chance to show it tonight.
Definitely.
A couple of jabs got through by Rodriguez. You see the nickname Metro on the waistband of Guevara. That's short for, I kid you not, metrosexual. Guys in the gym said, oh, you're a pretty boy. You take care of your looks so much. You wear the nice clothes when you come into the gym and everything. He embraced it, so they shortened it to Metro, and there you go.
When you ask about it, he says, yeah, I do.
Oh,
yeah, I do dress nice.
He embraced it. I think there's probably hair product in his coif right now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, but if he wants to watch his face, he got to protect against that right hand, because it keeps landing. Rodriguez very good with the straight right.
And I was going to say that, Jimmy. If he's worried about his face, he should not get hit with those right hands.
Exactly.
Stop! Don't punch!
You know, we talk all the time about Mexican style. Guys who walk forward, take 3 to give 1. Last few years, we've seen the boxer punches from Mexico. Guys who were very technical, but still aggressive. The problem is, defensively, so far he's having trouble with the right hand of Rodriguez. Has to find a way around that, just like that. Starting out slow, trying to maybe wear out the young buck.
And there was a punch that staggered. It was a quick left hook as Rodriguez was backing up. Guevara maybe losing his balance, or that punch contributed to it. He staggered for a moment.
I think that punch landed solid. but he was a little bit off balance as well.
Okay.
But what I love about what I see in Manny Rodriguez right now, he's composed. He's not wasting a lot of energy, a lot of punches. Everything has pinpoint accuracy. Good job.
Definitely seeing where he's comfortable at range. Long punches, the jab, and the
Stop, don't punch, right?
As round 1, his final seconds tick down. Biggest shot in round 1 was that left hook by Manny Rodriguez. It certainly got Guevara's attention. Right led to it, and there it was, back for round 2. Back live as the bell begins round number 2. That was an ISO look at Manny Rodriguez, bantamweight division. Not necessarily prone to a lot of knockouts, but this guy has a 5 knockout streak coming into this fight. 14 professional fights, hasn't lost. 10 of those 14 wins were by KO.
He's not getting overly aggressive. He's finding his opportunities for power punches. That's what hurt Guevara in that first round.
I see Guevara has made some adjustments. He's coming out right now trying to get a dominant jab working, and I think that'll help him in his cause if he's going to upset Rodriguez tonight.
The fighter from Puerto Rico in the red, white, and blue with an interesting backstory. So he's a teenager, and he admittedly was hanging around with the wrong people, making the wrong choices. He's 17 years old, and he and his friends decided to try and destroy an old trashed truck. So they took it out to a field. They poured gasoline on it, and before Rodriguez knew what had happened, he was ablaze. Caught fire, mostly on his legs and back. Big exchange right there. Rolled on the ground to put himself out, rushed to the hospital, second-degree burns over 66% of his body. His boxing career obviously put on hold, but not for very long. He vowed in the hospital to stop hanging around the wrong people and make better decisions in his life, and immediately got back to boxing training while he was in the hospital. Recovering in the burn ward, he got special permission to begin some exercises, and then he says he even somehow talked him into allowing him to spar before he was discharged from the hospital. And now, to bring it full circle here, years later after that incident as a 17-year-old, he speaks to groups, children, burn victims, tries to encourage them on their road to recovery, and speaks about fire safety, about making better decisions as a young person. Interesting backstory.
When you go through pain like that, I mean, it translates to everything. What workout is really painful after an experience like that makes you a lot tougher. That's what he told us.
And again, he fell in love with boxing, even though he was injured still and in a hospital bed. The love of boxing got him up and got him motivated, and that's why this is one of the best sports in the world.
Yeah, there are reports that say that he still had gauze, you know, from the from burn recovery on him while he was shadow boxing, while he was trying to do some work in the hospital.
You know, you see a lot of fighters at this point in their career, 14-0, 15-0, feel
hold,
the need
no
to
hold,
look
box.
impressive. They feel the need to be impressive, and they make mistakes. I don't see any of that so far from Rodriguez. Like you said, champ, tight boxing, not rushing anything.
Very poised, and that comes from an extensive amateur background. And you know, on that island, Puerto Rico, they have some great pros over there.
best in the world.
So he's getting the best training, the best work.
As the final 10 seconds come down, really the only exchange that we saw in this round was the right hand. Made the crowd go ooh and ah as we go to commercial break. One more look at Rodriguez scoring. And look at Alberto Guevara.
Stop, don't punch,
Only 2 losses on his ledger. Both of those were in title fights. He had 2 shots in the bantamweight championship back in 2013. Shinsuke Yamanaka got him. And then in 2012, Leo Santa Cruz bested him in a unanimous decision.
And the timing on that left hook, he's always catching Guevara coming in. You know, great release on the left hook, not overextending. It's not a leaping shot. I like that timing.
And Guevara was dragging that left jab. He's giving Rodriguez those opportunities.
Ooh, just like that.
Stiff.
No hold, box.
I think it'll be a good time for Rodriguez to really land something hard to the body. Or Guevara, for that matter.
Yeah. He's got to slow Rodriguez down somehow. So far, he hasn't found a way to do it.
No, he's fighting a style
Box.
that's conducive to Manny's style. I mean, he's there, he's comfortable, he's not really worried about any pressure. I think if Guevara wants to change the outcome of this fight, maybe he needs to back Manny up a little bit.
Yeah, and he's throwing really wide with that right hand. It's letting Rodriguez get inside with his punches.
Come on, gentlemen. Box.
Guevara should be very capable of a cerebral fight. He has a law degree, guys. His family stressed academics first. In fact, he said he might practice law or use his law degree in a career after boxing. But he had such a passion for the sport when he tried it as a youngster, him and his brother, that they said, no, we're not looking back. This is what we want to make our profession. But good to be able to read your own contract when you sign up for a fight.
Yeah, it isn't bad.
One hold. Stop. Nice. Let's go. Box, guys. Come on.
The jab we saw
No hold. Box. No hold.
1 and 2. Haven't seen it in round 3 from Guevara. Hasn't been throwing a jab and get it earlier.
You know what? He's shell shock right now. Punch shy is what we call it. Because every time you let that jab go, he can expect a counter jab or a counter overhand right. So you get gun shot.
That was a Floyd Mayweather special for so many years. As the fight went on, his opponents stopped throwing. They would throw early and then stop throwing as they got counted. It happens all the time, and that's what Rodriguez is doing.
You got to stick to the game plan, even though it's difficult in there. You got to stick to the game plan.
Stop!
You just don't know when it's going to turn around. But if it doesn't succeed right away, don't throw it away. You got to continue to try.
Guevara with a counter punch that snapped Rodriguez's head back a bit. Now the exchange here in the final 10 of round number 3. Rodriguez, Guevara getting set for round number 4. Real wow moments just yet, but as we wait for the bell, which is here right there, we bring back in PBC historian and our unofficial scorekeeper for the evening, Steve Farhood. Steve, how do you see it through 3?
Shutout 3-0 for Emmanuel Rodriguez. He's winning the fight in 2 ways. He's landing the bigger and harder shots. And I've been impressed with his defense. I really can't remember more than 1 or 2 clean shots Guevara's gotten in so far. So a shutout for Rodriguez. He's in total control.
Thank you, Steve. As Steve was making his comments, Guevara forcing the issue a little bit. A couple of blows that Rodriguez apparently glanced away.
No hold.
Remember,
No hold.
it's effective aggression. He's been throwing. He's been in Rodriguez's face periodically, but like Steve said, the hard, clean punches have been Rodriguez.
That was a clean, tight right that got to Guevara. Jimmy, I know you like doing this one. I said off the top, you know, it's Puerto Rico, Mexico. And we asked both fighters in our fighter meetings yesterday that they know the tradition. They wanted to continue. And we just say that. What do you think of? What do fight fans think of?
Puerto Rico, Mexico, it's heart, it's aggression, it's, you know, having an entire nation behind you. There's so much emotion in a fight like that. I think one of the reasons we're seeing this fight a little differently is we're seeing 2 guys that are technicians a little bit more. They don't seem that emotional. They seem like they haven't left their boxing in the dressing room. They're out being technicians. They're not worried about national pride tonight. That's what it looks like to me. So kind of like the thing we're used to seeing with a Puerto Rico-Mexico fight tonight has been pretty much absent. It's been a technical match, and Rodriguez has been winning that.
And I think the case for that is because Guevara has only lost to 2 champions, and Manny is still young.
Gentlemen,
I mean,
no hold.
if we were
No
talking
hold.
about seasoned champions and guys that has you know, hold on, the guys that really have the backing from our country, these are newbies, brand new babies trying to feel their way through this. Good body shot.
Nice.
Fans, Bellator MMA and Spike encourage our nation's veterans to make the same commitment to their health that they made to their country. Veterans Operation Wellness promotes physical and mental health and wellness. What's your vow?
Box. Let's go.
And now we've got blood coming from the left eye, corner of the left eye. It looks to be perhaps underneath of Guevara.
Didn't see the punch that cut him, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't an accidental headbutt or something, but I just didn't see it.
Yeah, I didn't see the clash heads
is a mess at this point.
Let go.
He'll get his cut man on it in a matter of a few seconds as we are through 4 rounds. Well, we found the moment that the gash occurred on the eye of Guevara. It was a headbutt. Both heads clash, and to me, looks nasty, but accidental, fellas.
Definitely.
And that's what the referee just told the judges. He said accidental headbutt, so he sees it the same way.
I want to bring back in Steve Farhood, if we can, as we begin round number 5. So we're using the Florida rules here. If the fight is stopped after 4 rounds by an accidental foul, which we are now in the 5th here, we go to the scorecard. The foul happened in round number 4. What's the official ruling on that?
Let's go.
If that's something that turns out to be a deciding factor.
4 rounds are complete, Scott.
Okay.
We would go to the cards. This is an official fight.
Thank you, Steve Farhood.
Good exchange by Guevara right there.
I think maybe this headbutt woke him up. He's getting a little busier.
A lot of times, the worst thing that happens,
Box.
guys see blood.
Yeah, exactly. One way or the other. Guevara just, so far in this fight hasn't found his offense, hasn't found his way in. He's more active in this round, but
He's working on some counter punching right now. When you see Manny let his hands go, you see Guevara right there trying to make something happen by countering those shots.
I was going to compliment the cut man in the corner of Guevara. The first 60 seconds of the 5th round were fairly clean, but now it's a flow there coming out of the left eye.
that's a nice turn for Rodriguez, and that's the side he's been hitting with the right hand as well. So expect for him to go to work on that target.
Antonio, can you tell if it's affecting the vision yet or not?
No hold.
I don't
No
know if
hold.
it's affecting
Let's
the
go.
vision, but
Box.
it's definitely affecting him because he knows he's bleeding. The blood is
Gentlemen,
running down
box.
his face profusely. And so, yeah, it's serious time for him right now. If he wants to change this fight, I think he needs to back Manny up. Manny is too comfortable right there going forward.
Also, he has found the defense frustrating. Not a lot of openings, not a lot of angles. He's able to open up on Rodriguez. Hands high. I like what I'm seeing from Rodriguez defensively.
Box.
Last round about Puerto Rico, Mexico, the crowd basically sitting on its hands at this point, waiting to be shown something. We think that if and how many of the Spanish-speaking members are in our audience right now, they're probably Cuban Americans waiting for tonight's main event. Lightweight championship, Francis Bartholomew, Cuban defector, undefeated, going to be defending his belt against a man who once owned that very same belt in Mickey Bay Jr. Rodriguez presses a little bit at the end of round number 5. You listen into the last seconds of instructions to Sensacional, the sensational Emmanuel Manny Rodriguez.
Time. Go there. Last warning, gentlemen.
Okay.
Last warning.
Telling the corner they had not cleared fast enough when they were instructed to move the stool, get their guy out. They'll take every second. The pit crew, if you will, needs to patch up the tire of Guevara, dealing with that cut. Suffered as a result of a headbutt, accidental headbutt in round number 4.
I thought Guevara did a lot better in that round. He sustained himself. He landed a couple shots, and he needs to do a lot more of that if he's going to, get into this fight.
Would you still give him the round 10-9?
It was close.
No hold.
I don't know if he took it, but it was close.
So once again, I think Rodriguez landed the cleaner shots. There weren't as many, but he landed the cleaner punches. So even his best round, maybe I wouldn't give it to him 10-9. It's close. That's your best round, and we're debating whether or not you took it. That's not a good sign.
More to come. Good body shot.
That was nice. You could hear that one clean.
Rodriguez not as active in rounds 5 and 6 as we saw him earlier.
Jimmy, as you know, Rampage returns when he faces Japanese judo specialist Satoshi Ishii. Plus, lightweight world title is up for grabs with Michael Chandler and Patricky Pitbull go toe-to-toe. Bellator debut of Matt Mitrione that night as well. It's Bellator MMA Dynamite 2 Friday, June 14th, 8 o'clock, live here on Spike. Looking forward to that one, Jimmy.
I cannot wait to see it. Rampage, first grappling match I ever had in the gym was Rampage Jackson. That dude is strong.
And a lot of the MMA guys are big boxing fans. They like to watch when they're not obviously training for Bellator to show their trade on Spike. They'll be watching PBC on Spike.
That Rodriguez is just a little quicker when they both throw. Rodriguez is a little faster, he's a little straighter. He's the one that pops his opponent's head back.
No hold. No hold. Let go. Let go.
What in Guevara's arsenal, what he's thinking about to turn the tide. We haven't seen a lot of different looks. He's been a little busier the last couple rounds. We haven't seen any different looks. We haven't seen any changes in his footwork, the way he's throwing his punches. You got to wonder what's in his toolkit to change the complexion of this fight. And so far, Rodriguez ahead.
Maybe a thought, and it has to do with both of these men's history in the ring, but it's something that we'll have to save for round number 7, which comes up on the other side.
Let go.
Well, we started the show by talking about the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali. There's the current GOAT. Or I guess, can we still call him the current GOAT? Because he's quote-unquote retired. Floyd Mayweather in the house. I say quote-unquote. If you had to handicap it, he's coming back for a 50th fight at some point.
I think so.
Yeah. Jimmy?
I think we all think that.
Yeah. But in the meantime, he gets to enjoy retirement life, promoting life. We've seen him a few times on our PBC on Spike broadcasts over the last several months. You see Floyd in the house. Sitting ringside, of course. You can see him there in the background in the aqua-clad shirt.
First thing they teach us in boxing is if you can't hit him with one jab, throw 2. You can't hit him with 2, throw 3. He needs to be doubling up right now to get his reach and range so that he can really land something on Emmanuel Rodriguez.
And twice we just saw it. Rodriguez timed the right hand over the jab because he's only throwing singles. Throw 2 or 3, that doesn't happen.
Exactly.
Jimmy, towards the end of the 6th round, you asked, what can Guevara, what tool can he bring out? Maybe he's doing it right now. The book on Rodriguez is take him into the deep water. He hasn't been there before. We're in round number 7. He has never fought past the 8th round, although he shows some spirit here and energy. But Guevara has been past 8 rounds 6 times in his career.
The problem with that is when you start your rally in round 7, it's knockout or nothing.
There you go.
Most of us would have this a wipeout. You might give Guevara 1 round, but it may be too late to get a decision. You don't want to dig a hole that you need a knockout to get out of.
And Steve Farhood has only called 1 round thus far for Guevara. That was the 5th round. Otherwise, a clean sweep for Rodriguez. Continues to look steady.
Shot! On punch!
There you go. There
On
you
punch!
go. Certainly could.
He needs more of that. He has to back him up. It's hard to beat a guy if you can't get him out of his comfort zone.
Exactly.
Very different. There you go. Double jab.
And you notice when he closes range, it makes it kind of a dirty fight. That's when he's at his best. You know, Rodriguez likes that medium range, the long range punching distance. When Guevara gets inside, gets in that dirty range, that's when he's at his best. Letting it was low, the rest was right there, didn't see it.
A quick shout out for the Manny Rodriguez corner here. His usual head trainer is Luis Pagan. Luis, Luis unfortunately suffered a diabetic episode just in the last month prior to this fight. It was bad enough to hospitalize him. Pagan had a surgical procedure. I was told not able to travel here to Hollywood, Florida to be in his fighter's corner. We met with Manny yesterday. And give his best, of course, to Pagan and his family as he's in a little bit of a battle back home. So get well soon, sir. Your fighter looks good. Here's According to us at ringside, it's been all Rodriguez, and the slow motion videotape would seem to back that up, Jimmy Smith.
And it's been because of the right hand. Straight, tight, accurate. Guevara just hasn't found a way around it yet.
Well, so here we go into round number 8.
There you go. Now you see Guevara coming out now, establishing a good jab. He has to keep it up. Can't give up on it. You gotta keep it up, keep going to it.
It seems like there's a little frustration when it doesn't work early. When he can't pop Rodriguez's head back early, he kind of abandons it a little bit.
Exactly.
Guys, there's Steve's unofficial scorecard outside of the 5th round, which we mentioned. A sweep 6-1 rounds in favor of the man in red, white, and blue.
What I'm looking for from this point on is to see if there's a shift in 2 directions. Will Rodriguez go, hey, could I really make my name getting this guy out of the way and nearly turn it on? And will Guevara go, hey, I don't care if I go out on my shield. I'm throwing everything I have. We'll see if either fighter makes that choice.
And let's be honest, this fight has wanted for action so far.
It has been.
Especially if Guevara doesn't really have that power punch, and I'm sure Rodriguez can feel that right now. He has to really step it up a little bit and make that impressive finish if he really wants to be the next star coming off the Puerto Rican Island.
How many times have we talked to fighters after fights and they go, after the 2nd round, I knew he couldn't hurt me. They kind of taste that power. I knew he couldn't hurt me. It seems like Rodriguez, for the most part, has made that determination that Guevara might throw some punches, but he's not shook by his power. That's for sure.
And so it's important that Manny has another gear that he can take it to, because he's going to have to face tougher and stiffer, more talented fighters. And, you know, from what I'm seeing right now, the jury is still out.
All right, here's my question. If you're his corner, is it keep doing what you're doing, you got a veteran guy against the ropes, you win his fight, or is it, hey, get this guy to here round 9, round 10, impress the crowd? What's your advice to your guy?
Definitely. You want to always be impressive because you're as good as your last fight. So it's important for this young man with all the hype to finish strong. I mean, because I don't see that Guevara can really truly hurt him with anything right now.
Yeah, we haven't seen it yet, that's for sure. That jab, that's timing very good.
This is a trip in.
Right there, another one.
A beautiful jab. It looks like Manny right now is content on scoring a lot of blows, but I like to see him finish the shot.
When you're successful with that jab, what's it set up? Combinations and power punches. And, he seems content sometimes to just pop the jab, keep his head snapping back, rather than let those power shots rip. As far as the boxing, we like what we've seen from Rodriguez, but maybe a little more killer instinct, Chin.
Yeah, most definitely. And he has it in him.
Hey, stop, right? Go.
Well, so there he is. He's undefeated. Still early in his career. This right now is the first time he's fighting into the 9th round, guys. So if you want to show something with knockout power, that would be tremendous. But then you can maybe at least squash some of the rumors or reputation of perhaps not having the stamina commensurate with a top contender in the bantamweight division.
Welcome to the double edge of fighting. If you go the distance, you don't have power. If you don't go the distance, you don't have any gas. You don't know what it's like to go those rounds. So you can't win either way.
It seems like Guevara definitely has a solid chin. So I mean, credit to him for even taking all these punches so far.
Well, good news for Guevara. We haven't talked about the cut on the eye for the last 3 or 4 rounds.
It hasn't been a huge issue in this fight.
And you didn't want it to be because it came from the accidental headbutt back in the 4th.
Boxing isn't a race, it's a bunch of little sprints, and every time they throw the jab, Rodriguez's fist gets there first. He's just a hair ahead in these little tiny sprints that make up the fight.
Oh, what a combination. That was a nice moment there for Rodriguez.
Now it's time for Rodriguez to go ahead and do what he came here to do and hopefully close the show in dramatic fashion. A think he's really given up on the body a lot. He hasn't gone to the body, asserted himself to the body as much in the later rounds. It seems like Guevara throws that jab out there and then he anticipates the return.
No hold, no hold. Let's punch.
Worrying about his business.
No hold.
Exactly, like he's just waiting to get hit back rather than throwing the right hand over the top. Exactly. It's because Rodriguez has been so effective with it. He's been over the top with his jab and the right hand. Just, man, beautiful shot. You kind of see that, whenever a fighter gets aggressive, a lot of times you hear the corner say, reset, go back to work, don't get caught up. Rodriguez on his own, you see he lands combination, just resets, kind of goes back to zero and goes back to work.
No holding. Okay, let's go.
Under him.
Yeah,
His
exactly.
body, his feet, is his foundation, and he's not overexerting or overreaching past his body. Everything is in perfect. This is perfect tap. So I like his style. A little bit more foot movement would be good for him as he moves up the ladder.
You definitely see the gaps that he can fill in the gym after this fight, but man, his timing is good.
It is.
And you gotta wonder, having been through 10-round fights, 12-round fights, your first time, are you wondering?
Stop, don't punch.
I was wondering if that's crappy, but do you wonder if I have the gas? Does it make you maybe a little more cautious than you should be in rounds 9 and 10?
No, right now these guys are drilling this flowing. I mean, they're in it. They can do this for 15 rounds.
Now, there have been a lot of fireworks, but this was a great moment for Rodriguez. Right and a left, and then another right, finding their mark.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together.
We are going to the 10th and final round of our first fight of the night, the co-main event. Guevara on the left, Rodriguez on the right. Rodriguez has dominated the fight through 9. Final 3 minutes here. The Puerto Rican has never been this late in his professional career. Can he close with a flurry? Will he expose himself? Will he extend himself to try and do that?
The question is, how motivated is he in a fight that we've seen some bad judging, but any reasonable judge would have him well ahead at this point. He's got to feel good about where he is.
And you wonder if he thinks about, obviously knockouts are big. I have 5 straight knockouts coming into tonight. This is a guy in the gold trunks who has been in championship fights before. If I can put that pelt on the wall, what does that do?
Yeah, that would be huge for him.
No hold, box,
But
let's
it's
go.
his choice
No
to
hold.
make.
Yeah,
That's
there
the
you
thing.
go.
He's
Yeah.
ahead. It's, do I want to? Do I have to? I've seen him as boxing, of his fundamentals are really impressive.
We're going to see a guy later tonight in Mickey Bay who only has 1 loss, and that 1 loss was in a fight where he was way up on the scorecards in the final rounds, and got hit on the button, and it turned all in the second. So it's not like you're not risking anything by trying to go for a final round knockout in a fight where you overmatch your opponent.
We haven't seen any of those lapses technically. I mean, Bay lost that fight because he started dropping his hands, kind of mugging a little bit. Rodriguez has stayed fundamentally sound.
Yes, he has. And a lot of times you don't want to force the knockout. You want to let it come by just doing what you do. But exert yourself a little bit more. Put a little bit more pop on those punches. Or hit him more consecutively or hurt him. Find that punch. I tell my son all the time, find that shot. You got to find it.
It's there somewhere.
We see you watching, boxing fans. We know you're using the hashtag online on social media, hashtag PBC on Spike, and we know you're all thinking about Muhammad Ali in a battle for his life. Reports out of the Phoenix area hospital. Final minute of the fight. You want to throw a Muhammad Ali story or a moment or something that you think of when you think of the greatest?
Well, every time I think of the greatest, my fondest memory was the 1996 Centennial Olympic Games, where we walked that track and saw Muhammad Ali light the torch. I'm telling you, man, it was out-of-body experience. I'll never forget it.
And if you remember, they kept that under wraps. They did not announce, as of course every ceremony for the Olympic torch, it gets passed one to another throughout the country and whatnot. They did not announce until we saw it live that it would be Muhammad Ali, the final torchbearer, to light the Olympic flame in the stadium that night in Atlanta. Goosebump moment in the history of sports. Well, we think this one's going to go into the also for the sexiest bantamweight bout we've ever seen. But we will make it official on the other side of this timeout. So our co-main event goes the distance after the 10th and final round. Our unofficial scorekeeper, Steve Farhood, had it 9 rounds to 1, 99-91 in favor of the, to this point, undefeated Emmanuel "Manny" Rodriguez. Did the ringside judges agree? Michael C. Williams lets us know.
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance, we'll go to your 3 ringside judges. Your first judge, Richard Green, scores it 99-91. Your second judge, Mark Streisand, sees the fight 100-90. Your third and final judge at ringside, William Ray, scores it 99-91. All see it for the winner by unanimous decision and still undefeated Manny El Sensacional Rodriguez.
Well, the 5 straight knockout streak is over. Knockouts are great, but you know what also is? A 0 in the loss column. And that is what is maintained by the Puerto Rican Manny Rodriguez, who goes to 15-0.